After leaving his impact on the tennis world, Roger Federer announced his retirement in September. Federer's right knee injury is without a doubt a significant influence on his choice. But what does this mean for players in the tennis world? What does it mean for Novak Djokovic? Does Novak Djokovic's status as one of the finest tennis players in the world push him to break and set records? Find out in this video. Roger Federer's dominant era comes to an end. Great news for Novak Djokovic. In solo sports, it can be simpler to shine because everyone is watching the athlete. Nonetheless, the caliber of performance put by this man is in a class of its own. In addition to being the favorite to win against the rest of the field in every tournament he competed in, it was shocking if Federer shot worse than par or dropped a set. That alone demonstrated how amazing his performance was and how brilliant he was. However, a lot of tennis is mental. It requires players to maintain attention on every shot while putting past errors behind them. It is simple for a player to make a mistake in a team sport and have his teammates cover for him or still lift him up. But in the aforementioned sports, mental toughness is absolutely essential. Federer traveled without a coach for a period of 10 months, yet he still won 2 Grand Slams. To win his prize Grand Slams, Federer took his opponents head-on, stared them down across the net, and beat them one at a time. Federer, in the beginning, wasn't always recognized as a gifted young man. He was thought to have a poor attitude and was unable to produce at the level he was capable of. At the tender age of 17, Federer made the professional move in 1998. Federer recorded on tour 158.93 in a 5-year period, enough for a pitiful 63% winning rate. However, he claimed that his view on the game was affected by his Wimbledon victory over his idol Pete Sampras in 2001. After defeating Sampras on his preferred surface, he suddenly realized that he might be the best. Federer entered the 2003 season with 2 objectives in mind: to win his first Grand Slam and to finish the year at the top of the rankings. This was after a full year of playing and training following that historic victory. Unfortunately, he only succeeded in one of those goals, as he won the Wimbledon Championship in London, where he didn't drop a set for a long time. The fact that Federer finished the year ranked number 2 behind Andy Roddick just encouraged him to work even harder to ascend to the top of the tennis world. Federer won 3 Grand Slam tournaments and the number 1 spot in the 2004 season. Federer's 152-23 record between 2003 and 2004 represented that he had a significant improvement in both his ascent to greatness and his mental development. Since Federer played the game with such ease, it is simple for many sports fans to believe that he was not giving it his all when they watched him compete. On the court, Federer was a master, producing victories from every angle imaginable. His gift will be lost, though, without his brilliant ability to organize the points. In addition to his grace on the court and his overwhelming dominance over his opponents, ever since he initially rose to the top of the rankings, he had given many in the tennis community cause to believe that he was the best player to ever hit a tennis ball. Between 2004 and 2008, Federer had won 87% of his games, 11 of the previous 17 Grand Slams, and just once hadn't at least reached a semifinal. Federer reached 10 consecutive Grand Slam finals, won 8 of them, and lost twice at the French Open to Rafael Nadal. He lost to the Serbian Novak Djokovic in the semifinals of the 2008 Australian Open. Particularly in a sport where participants' physical and mental endurance was frequently put to the test, those numbers seem astounding. However, Roger Federer was more than simply a collection of statistics. He was also known for his innate ability to routinely and repeatedly dominate his opponents on the court. When Federer fell behind in a set, the tennis world was usually turned upside down as passionate spectators attentively monitored the action in the hope of a stunning upset. Has a sportsperson ever been under such intense pressure to win so convincingly in each and every contest? I doubt it. Federer, though, quietly went about his business week after week as he trained to achieve the new standard in professional sports: perfection, something the New England Patriots as a team could not claim. Federer had the capacity to triumph on all surfaces, and that put him ahead of both his rivals and the champions who came before him in the race to become the greatest tennis player ever. Few people were aware of Nadal's brilliance, who is referred to as the greatest clay court player ever, and who was the only form of kryptonite for the Fed Express, holding the 2 crowns that would have given Federer an incredible 10 straight Grand Slam victories. Roger Federer announced his retirement in September. Federer's right knee surgery played a part in his decision. He will surely be missed. Federer's retirement is great news for Novak Djokovic. Recent developments around Novak Djokovic and the King of Clay, Rafael Nadal. Just before Novak Djokovic revealed he would also compete in both end-of-year tournaments, Rafa Nadal's coach revealed the Spaniard would play in the Paris Masters before the ATP Finals. After the birth of his first child, Nadal and his wife, Mary Chisca Parello, had been taking some time off from the ATP Tour. The Spaniard had a stellar 2022 season, winning the Australian Open, Roland Garros, and making it to the Wimbledon semifinals. His season has been plagued by an abdominal injury and a persistent foot problem, and he hadn't participated in a tour match since the US Open. While Nadal and Roger Federer did partake in a doubles match at the Laver Cup to bid their rivals farewell, the 36-year-old has since returned to his home country. It has been questioned whether Nadal will compete in the year's grand finale event. Nadal was spotted as he returned to training at the Rafa Nadal Academy after the birth of his child. The fact that Nadal has never won the Paris Masters could be what motivated the 22-time Grand Slam champion to make one last run. After recently qualifying and suffering for qualification due to Wimbledon points not counting in 2022, Djokovic has previously guaranteed his attendance at the ATP Finals. Djokovic will play back-to-back championships in Paris alongside Nadal. The thrilling news to close off the 2022 season was quickly praised by the tennis community. What does this mean for Novak Djokovic? Could he surpass Roger Federer? Djokovic triumphed at Wimbledon to win his 21st major championship, showcasing his talent as a tennis player once more, separating himself from his peers while comparing the greatest in history. Djokovic had openly acknowledged his love for breaking records and elevating the game. As he once put it, he had always been honest enough to say that the legacy of the sport had been too much of a driving force during his career. With the best performance he can muster on the tennis ground, he intends to break every record he can think of. Here are some of the missing accomplishments which he intends to achieve. First is the total Grand Slam victories in number. Djokovic is still one victory short of taking the top spot on this list, despite it seeming as though he had just won all the major championships. Rafael Nadal currently holds 22 titles, while Novak Djokovic holds 21. They could continue to compete for this record for a while, given that neither has declared his retirement. The good news is that whoever retains it at the conclusion of his career will have a nearly unassailable record, given the fact that neither of the other active tennis players currently has a Grand Slam total of more than 10. Next, number of games won. It is difficult to imagine that Djokovic is not the tennis player with the most victories in history after nearly 20 years in the game and so many victories. However, Roger Federer of Switzerland narrowly outperforms him. Federer had 369 victories in his career, while the Serbian has 334. The fact that Federer has almost withdrawn from the tennis world in recent years and is getting close to 40 years old means that Djokovic has a good chance of shattering this record. Also, another great accomplishment is to lead the ATP Finals in victories. The ATP Finals is the most prominent competition in professional tennis after the 4 yearly Grand Slams. Roger Federer held the record for most victories in this competition with a total of 6 victories: 2003 to 4, 2006 to 7, 2010 to 11. Djokovic, on the other hand, has a total of 5 victories in this competition: 2008 and 2012 to 2015. Djokovic is without a doubt the best male tennis player in history, despite the fact that he still has a lot to learn. With victories over Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal, each new accomplishment is an opportunity to further establish his reputation. His supporters will undoubtedly hope to help him smash new marks, but it won't be an easy assignment. In addition to discipline, luck will be needed. The likelihood of the existing records being broken and new records being set is very high. With the recent retirement of Roger Federer owing to age and injury, one could say he has been given a free license to break them. The odds are really in his favor. Subscribe and like. See you in the next video.